WVTT is the news station that brings you news and information that you can depend on. We are first, fast, and accurate, bringing you the only local television news in the Twin Tiers. WVTT, depend on it.
Now our first look at weather here on WVTT. Mostly cloudy during the overnight hours. Low temperature 52 degrees, Alexa.
And it looks like there might be some snow in our forecast.
Absolutely. We'll have complete weather details coming up here on WVTT.
Now, WVTT Global News Update.
It's one of the world's most militarized borders. North Korea recently announced plans to launch a rocket this month, regarded by many as an act of provocation. On the other side, some in South Korea preparing for the day when they think the Koreas will be reunited for the first time since the 1950s. CNN's Paula Hancock has the story.
It was a moment in history that took the world by surprise. November 9th, 1989. The Berlin Wall fell, helped by Germans on both sides of the Iron Curtain. It was peaceful and jubilant. No wall separates North and South Korea, just 4 kilometers of no man's land. Filled with thousands of landmines, kilometers of barbed wire, and hundreds of thousands of soldiers on both sides. Few predict a peaceful unification in the near future. And yet, Seoul has started to prepare for just that outcome. Unification Minister Yoo Woo-ik has made so-called unification jars to start collecting money from citizens.
I firmly believe unification will be achieved in my lifetime. When the German president visited, he told me the biggest mistake the German government made was not being able to prepare the people for unification. I do not want to repeat that mistake on the Korean peninsula.
Bike rides have been organised around the country to highlight the issue, but the younger generation, who have known nothing but a divided Korea, are showing little interest.
I tell the younger generation that peace and stability in Northeast Asia can be permanently achieved once we're unified, and we'll be able to create more job opportunities. Only with unification can we achieve our full potential.
This cap-in-hand approach is not new. In 1998, the government asked the public to give up their gold to help the country recover from the Asian financial crisis. The response was extraordinary. Millions of citizens donated wedding rings and family treasures to be melted down for sale on the international markets. More than $2 billion worth was collected in just 4 months. Passion for unification is more tempered. It's hard to rally a nation with no imminent crisis in sight. As for whether it could be as peaceful as it was in Germany, the government says that is the scenario they're planning for. But they're also realistic enough to realise there are no guarantees. Paula Hancock, CNN Seoul.
UN Ambassador Susan Rice made 2 trips to Capitol Hill last week to answer questions from Republican senators. She's under scrutiny for her public statements following the September 11th attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya. Athena Jones has an in-depth look at Rice, who some speculate could be nominated to be the next Secretary of State.
She has done exemplary work. To besmirch her reputation is outrageous.
She's at the center of Republican criticism over the White House's handling of the consulate attack in Libya. But who is United Nations Ambassador Susan Rice? A Stanford graduate and Rhodes Scholar, Rice was a foreign policy advisor to then-Senator Obama in his 2008 White House bid, and is considered a top choice to replace Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. The 48-year-old mother of 2 was born to a prominent Washington family and counts former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright among her mentors. As a college student, Rice had her sights set on becoming United States Senator.
It's pitiful and deeply regrettable.
She's known for her blunt speaking style.
Her supporters say, yes, she's a tough talker, but with her, you know where you stand. She says exactly what you think, and sometimes that could be helpful.
She can also be funny, like in a commencement address at her alma mater in 2010.
Stanford also taught me focus and discipline. Once you've learned to study in a bathing suit on the grass with muscled men throwing frisbees over your head, you can accomplish almost anything.
She got her start in politics as a foreign policy aide in Michael Dukakis's 1988 presidential campaign. Rice later served as Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs under President Clinton and on the National Security Council staff during the genocide in Rwanda. Mass killings many said that administration should have done more to stop. Between government posts, Rice was a scholar at the Brookings Institution.
She's no just party hack or rubber stamper for Obama. She actually is a kindred intellectual spirit and helped him develop many of his ideas that he later ran on for president. I think that's part of why they're so close intellectually and personally.
But her closeness to the president won't mute critics who accuse her of misleading the public in Sunday talk show remarks blaming the Libya attack on a spontaneous protest.
I still believe that she's an intelligent, talented person. But it's important that the Secretary of State enjoy credibility around the world, and I am concerned that Susan Rice's credibility may have been damaged.
Questions have also been raised about some of Rice's investments.
We will not let you build this pipeline.
Like in the company behind the controversial Keystone Pipeline, a project under review by the State Department. It's not yet clear the president will nominate Rice as Secretary of State. If he does, it's certain to be a fight. Athena Jones, CNN, Washington.
Both sides in the fiscal cliff talks seem very far apart. There is some optimism about coming to at least a short-term deal.
With the so-called fiscal cliff and higher taxes for all Americans looming, a deal seems an elusive dream.
Right now, I would say we're nowhere. Period. We're nowhere.
House Speaker John Boehner blames the stalemate on the Obama administration. He says it isn't taking Republicans seriously with their plan to close loopholes and limit deductions without raising taxes.
I realize that the president may disagree, but the fact is that if there's another way to get revenue from upper-income Americans that doesn't hurt our economy, then why wouldn't we consider it?
The president wants to end the Bush-era tax cuts for people making more than $250,000 a year. Without a deal, the average middle-class family could pay about $2,000 a year more in taxes.
There's just no reason why 98% of Americans have to see their taxes go up, because some members of Congress on the Republican side want to block tax rate increases for 2% of the wealthiest Americans.
House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi is pushing for a House vote on the plan the Senate passed in the summer.
We think it would be a wonderful Christmas gift for the American people, for the middle class to have a tax cut come January, and we want them to tell the American people why not if they won't do it. But we're optimistic.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham is a little more pessimistic, saying the plan given to Congress last week is, quote, a joke.
This offer doesn't remotely deal with entitlement reform in a way to save Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security from imminent bankruptcy.
The clock is ticking. I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
Now, taking a look at the WVTT Wall Street wrap-up. A down day for stocks again today. The Dow Jones, as you can see, down 60 points, closing at 12,965. Also, the NASDAQ Composite down 8 points to close just over 3,000 at 3,002. And the broad-based S&P 500 down nearly 7 to close at 1409. Still to come on the 6 o'clock report, we'll have WVTT Sports, a look at the WVTT Severe Weather Action Team forecast on the way as well. Stick around. This is News Channel 25 WVTT.